body. I thought he made a couple of plays just because he's big and strong. He was able to put pressure on the ball. He had one steal, and they fouled him right after the steal. A bit of a presence in the paint, just having a grown man down there that can absorb contact. And then at the end, he's a guy that's not afraid to take and make a shot. And I thought Book showed great poise throwing it to him. And even when he missed the one shot, he went right back to him. And so that's the trust that Book has in the guys on the floor with him, and I think that builds confidence. But to your point, TJ and a few of the guys off the bench gave us a big jolt tonight.
That's what I was going to follow up with. You went with Landale at the end instead of Aiden. Aiden looked like he wasn't happy to be coming out, but I'm just curious what you saw with Jock.
Well, Jock was giving us great energy. I thought his pressure on the rim just in transition opened up a ton of lanes for all of our guys to attack the paint tonight in transition. And then he just scrapped. I mean, you couldn't point out anything that he did from a high-level skill perspective, but he just scrapped. And even when he was guarding Murray or guarding the smalls, he just competed. And, guys have tough games, and D.A. didn't have his best tonight, but it's great to be able to have your brother out there that can pick it up for you.
Last thing I had was Booker and Durant. You said, hey, need more, you'll give us more. Tonight was an example of that.
We didn't talk about needing more. They just knew what we had to do to win this game. Kev is still finding his way and his rhythm. And, he had 39, and that's, if you look at the numbers, that's not a typical Kevin Durant efficient game. And so we still have that to look forward to, I believe. And Book was amazing. I mean, from start to finish. Had he not gotten his fifth, he might have eclipsed, whatever. I don't even want to get into that. But I just thought it was his will, determination, reading the defense, getting off the ball, and even defensively, like just competing. That's something that I noticed when I first came here with him was he just competes every time he steps on the floor. And so we're just grateful for the win, grateful for all the contributions, and we're going to need it again on Sunday.
Monty, to your point on Kevin, it wasn't the best shooting night for him, but he got to the line a lot. And at the start of the second quarter especially, it seemed like he was determined to do it. How'd you like his ability to do that?
Well, I think anytime you're a threat to shoot from range and you can put it down in today's economy, like you have a chance to put pressure on teams that way. And it's twofold for us. We get points and we get to set our defense. And when we set our defense, the first shot defense is pretty good for us. We still got to figure out the rebounding. There were just too many possessions where they seemed like they had 4 or 5 rebounds in one possession. So that increased the margin tonight. But we certainly need Kevin's ability to get to the line in a game like that. We still only had 18, but thankfully we made most of them.
How'd you like the way Terrence and TJ were able to hold up defensively?
I just think that the communication piece is huge for them. When they can communicate what's coming, it helps. Terrence had a flare screen where we gave up a dunk to Murray, and then after that, he realized if I just communicate the switch, we can keep them in front of us. Both of those guys are, it sounds strange, but they're still learning our system, and knowing what to say comes after you learn it. And so they're still learning our stuff. Once they learn it and get it down, especially in this series, I think they'll be able to communicate earlier.
Coach, I'm sure you're tired of getting asked about this, but with Book, what he's doing offensively and then the effort he's putting in defensively, playing those high minutes, does it feel like he's...
I don't get tired of talking about a guy when he's playing as well as Book is. I mean, I'll talk about it every night, I hope, because that means we're playing well. I do feel better about the rotation tonight because I was able to get him a break at the start of the second. Typically, I'd run him a bit too long, and so he got the quarter break and then the automatic timeout break, and then we can get him back in the game. So this is that time of the year. I mean, Jokic played 41. Book played 41. I mean, the best players are playing high minutes, so that's what it requires this time of the year.
How'd you like the way Campaign pushed the tempo?
It was amazing. I thought his first layup was signature Cam. He missed the one in Denver, and tonight it He was at the rim. Even when he didn't look to score, he was putting so much pressure on them in transition that it's hard to match up. And we need it. And then Jock's ability to run the floor and get to the rim, even though he didn't get the ball, I thought those two guys opened up a ton of lanes for all of our guys who had the ball or were running in transition to pick up some threes at times.
Monty, obviously you never figure out a player like Jokic over here, but 6 turnovers tonight, and it felt like that was an area where Campaign specifically was making an impact, getting those deflections and steals. Do you feel like that's a ability to play him a few times and sort of know where to look, or what would you attribute that to?
Well, I wouldn't get too happy on the farm when it comes to that kind of stuff with Jokic, just because you don't see him turn the ball over. But I do think we had to be a bit more aggressive tonight defensively to try to get them off of their sweet spots. And you complement that with having high active hands to disrupt their passing lanes. Everybody knows he's one of the best passers in the league. And so if you can disrupt his passing, whether you're big or small, I think it helps guys on the backside. I think there's just too many times where he's at the top of the key or at the elbow, and if you don't have any ball pressure, he's just throwing bullet passes to cutters. If you can get some ball pressure, maybe that helps the guys on the backside in case there's a slip up or miscommunication in an off-ball screen. And so I'm just grateful that we were able to put a bit more pressure on them tonight than we did up in Denver.
Coach, can you please share, Katie went out in about 3:30 left in the first, and you stopped him as he tried to walk by. Can you share what you said?
Well, I hadn't been using that rotation. But with Chris being out, I'm trying to stagger as best I can Kev and Book. And so to get him a break, so I want to get Book a break at the end of the first and then bring Kevin back so we can keep those guys on the floor as best we can. There's nothing new. I mean, most teams will do that with their best players.
Monty, you mentioned the other night Chris being out puts that much more pressure on Book. Why and how was he able to handle that so well tonight?
I think, one, that's who he is. That's his makeup. He doesn't run from the tough stuff. I've noticed that since I've been around him. But I think, putting a few more shooters around him may have helped him, see more space and get to the basket and that kind of thing. But I just think it's his makeup. I mean, he understands not having Chris puts more on his plate, but I don't think he forced it the way that you would think. I think he allowed the game to happen naturally, and then where there was opportunities for him to push the issue, he was pretty efficient.
Coach, obviously Jock couldn't stop Jokic with those gaudy, triple-double numbers, but what are some of the things that you saw that you did like in defending against Jokic and
with Jock?
With Jock, and
I just thought he fought. I thought his competitive edge was what we needed. Nobody stops Jokic. He's a 2-time MVP, but I thought Jock competed every possession. And then when we got the ball, whether it was a rebound or a turnover, he was out. And I thought that put pressure on their transition defense. And so when you play with that kind of effort, I think it allows for you to have a chance against a guy that we know is, all world.
Monty, you've been coaching Book for a few years now, and it seems like he's still getting better and still, not necessarily learning the game, but being able to control the game. How have you seen him grow from when you first stepped in there?
I mean, there's a number of areas. I think the continuity in the program helps you look like you're growing, but I think he's always been a really good player. But I think being in our program and, the spacing around him on offense certainly helps. But he's in a position now where he's seeing different defenses now in the playoffs. Like every other possession, it changes, but it's nothing new for him. If you look at what he faces every night, I think he's used to it. I think the guys around him really help him when the spacing is there. And then if you have Kevin on the backside, that certainly helps. But he's grown just because of the experiences. You know, he plays winning basketball. We've won a little bit, and he's been in some big-time games. I think that allows for everybody to see his game expand on a big stage.
Last one, Nikki.
Monty, that lineup the last 5 minutes, Book, KD, Jock, Landry, TJ, I don't know if they've played it all together.
Yeah.
Are you cognizant of that, or how much of that is just feel in the moment?
It was just the feel. It was, what can we do to compete and be physical on defense, get some athleticism on the floor. TJ gave us another big body to rebound, and then the spacing to give Book and Kevin room to operate. And having guys who, are not afraid to make plays, especially when there's 6-7 seconds on the clock. And so, no, we haven't used that lineup, but, that's what playoff basketball is. Sometimes you fall into something, and it could be a different lineup next game.
Kevin, you've talked about just the whole idea of competing in the playoffs. How much did this game come down to you guys competing?
Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, that's all it is in the playoffs, just playing as hard as you can. Just trying to win every possession. Sometimes it won't go well for you. It's a game of runs, but stay in it. I think that's what we did tonight. And that's also what they did, too. They were down big and got back into the game.
Curious with the free throw line. You almost addressed the free throw situation by yourself. How much of that was a point of emphasis that I'm getting to the line tonight?
Oh, I'm just trying to drive. I missed so many good looks early. Second quarter, I just try to put my head down and get to the rim and just get closer to the rim. And they playing extra aggressive, so their hands on me, their body's there. They just sitting in the paint sometimes, so I just be aggressive to the rim. So that's what, I try to get down there when I can't make shots. And tonight was one of those nights I couldn't find one to fall. So just try to be effective in other ways.
The follow-up I had with the bench with Warren, Landale, and those two particular, how big were they tonight?
Yeah, they were huge, man. Huge. Ross coming in just shooting those shots. 2 for 7, 1 for 6, but they're good looks every time. We need those. Jock came in with 6 and 9, incredible minutes for us. Landry came in and gave us some great minutes. And TJ, made some big shots there in the fourth. So we're going to need that going forward. I think the team, we rallied around each other, especially early on. I wasn't making shots. Book just can't say enough about Book. I'm at a loss for words, just how he approaches the game, how he's just a leader of this team, this organization, how he brings it every single day, and we just follow his imprint, and, we rally around him. So tonight was one of those nights.
Kevin, when the shot wasn't falling early on, you came out at the start of the second quarter, got the team in the bonus within 3 minutes, got to the foul line. When did you learn that skill in the league of getting to the line when your shot isn't falling to see him go through?
It's not like a conscious thing. I just feel like a lot of teams just play me super aggressive, either physical, put their hands on me, so I try to use that against them and get downhill. And most of the time, they're trying to funnel me to the help, so, they might not be as disciplined guarding me, one-on-one a bit. So try to use that against them. And like I said, I wasn't getting some good looks to fall, so I just try to put points on the board regardless of anything and just try to help the team win.
How big was you had that one dunk in the third, I believe, when Jock just sprinted up the floor and opened the lane. How big is that kind of energy when he's just running up and down like that?
Yeah, his energy was incredible tonight. For him to, guard Jokic, one-on-one most of the night, him and DA one-on-one most of the night. I mean, he still played well, but it's still a tough job at guarding him and not getting fouled out, and he stayed in the game, rebounded well, just played with energy. We're going to need that in Game 4.
Kevin, we saw DA on the bench kind of being picked up by some teammates because it wasn't his night tonight. I know you're new here, but when you have a teammate like that that's kind of going through it, how do you pick them up in this type of playoff setting?
Just keep encouraging him. I know he still stayed into the game regardless. He was, on the same page with us, not, encouraging us, cheering for us when he was out on the bench. So, I think DA just, he wants to be out there. He wants to contribute. He wants to play well every single night. He wants to do everything right, So sometimes that could be a little frustrating when you don't get the opportunity to, showcase what you can do sometimes. But that's just the nature of a team. You got a team where the next guy got to step up and everybody just got to support, and looking forward to a big game from him next game.
With Book, you've seen him, you're familiar with his game, but have you expected this level of play from him that he showed?
Yes. I don't understand why this is such a surprise to anybody. He's been doing this since day one. I mean, they might not have been playoff wins, but he showed his skills since his rookie year, and a lot of people overlook that and then see him go 45 and think it's something new. Nah, he's always been on this type of time, and we got to continue to keep feeding the high hand. But he's making good plays. 3 turnovers, 9 assists. I ain't have a turnover tonight, so that's always good when we keep the ball in our hands. And he's one of the guys that just ignites us from the first possession. So I'm sure they might, who knows what they'll do to guard him next game, but we want him to stay aggressive.
That was kind of the question I was going to lead to, Katie. You've been a fan of Book since he came into the league. Like, how have you seen him grow and evolve since he was a rookie and playing on those different, Phoenix Suns teams that weren't doing a lot of winning?
This is love for the game, his humility for just life in general. He's a team builder. Like, all the things you want in a superstar, he brings it. And he doesn't say much about it. A lot of people don't, write fluff stories or pieces about what he brings every single day, but we see it and we appreciate it. And you're starting to see it on a national scale the last few years with us being a successful team. But he's everything you need in a player on both ends of the floor, out in the community. I can't speak enough about how great he is.
Kevin, Monty said he feels like you're still kind of finding your rhythm, and we haven't seen that efficient Kevin Durant game yet. How do you feel like you're just doing in that regard, and while logging heavy minutes too?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy playing heavy minutes. I'm still figuring out. I'm not figuring out nothing. I just got to make shots, to be honest. Like, I missed some good ones. I'm rushing some shots. Like, I'm thinking too much out there, and I think that's all on me more so than trying to get comfortable with the team. It's just spurting through the game where I just go out there and just play and let it flow. And sometimes I'm trying to think too much. So this is a part of the process and the journey, and I think I'm getting there to a point where I'm super comfortable with the team. So it's close.
So you went to the foul line 16 times, you hit 14 of them. Until the last 2 seconds of the game, nobody else on the team went to the free throw line, and then Booker finally did at the end. He had 25 shots. I think in 40 some odd years of covering basketball, I've never seen that.
Really?
Well, yeah. What do you attribute it to? And I know you look like you were hit on practically every play.
Yeah, I mean, I took 31 shots tonight. Like, I was trying to score. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to get downhill and make plays and just be involved in the game offensively. So, like I said, when teams playing extra physical and touching and grabbing and playing with their bodies and using other guys to help guard me as well, I'm going to get to the free throw line. So I think that calmed our team down, was able to loosen up their defense a bit because they were over-aggressive, and we was able to get to the free throw line. I was able to get to the free throw line and open up the floor for our team. So,
have you ever seen nobody else go to the free throw line?
I'm sure it happened before in the game that I played in, but
Pretty rare.
Yeah, it's rare.
Yeah, when teams are physical with you like that, and you're one of the top rebounders on the teams. How does that help you with staying in rhythm, even though your shot might not fall early?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more than just a scorer. I'm more than just a guy that's still scoring. Who's just you used to just putting points on the board, nothing else. So I try to contribute in other different ways, and it's frustrating not making shots because that's what I'm paid to do. That's what I do is make shots. But it's also comes a time where you just got to continue to figure it out and push through it. And I was able to make some there late, make some there in the third, some in the second. It was some in spurts, but just keep being aggressive, man. I'm looking forward to the next game.
Last two, Tim, then over.
Katie, is there anything that you have learned about Book during these playoffs?
Nah.
You knew this is the guy you knew you were coming to play with.
Yes. I mean, I've been following him since he was in high school, so since he was a junior in high school. Came to my camp as a junior, I think, and just been following ever since then, keeping an eye out on him. And then when he had that 70-point game, that's when I really like, all right, I need to look at his box score every night. And that's really what it is for me, just watching guys' box scores every night and then checking the highlights afterwards. So it's been like that for the last, 5 or 6 years with Book. So I'm not surprised that he can go off and do this. I'm not going to expect 20 for 25 every night, but I know that he can reach that level. And when he does, it's no surprise. So you just keep being, keep rallying around everybody, and just look forward to getting to practice tomorrow and see what happens next game.
Kevin, Denver started double teaming and triple teaming you and Devin very early on the game, and then down the stretch. But how, as artists, both of you artists of reading defense and then splitting triple team and double team, how is that communication down the stretch when you're able to find TJ and other people to kind of put this game away?
Yeah, I mean, let's try to play simple ball. When you don't have to run plays and the team going to commit two on the ball to you, I think that's when basketball is at its purest form. Guys are just playing on that backside and just playing off instincts. And you've seen TJ, he missed 1-3, but he was confident enough to come back and shoot the next one, and then went in. Then he made the floater as well. So if they're going to commit to us like that, we got to continue to trust our teammates, and everybody has to be confident in shooting the ball. So, we'll see what happens next game, and by game 4, you pretty much seen every scheme that they're trying to throw at you. So, hopefully we be prepared for it.
Yeah, Kev, I just had one question about you had the Lance Banks. He just passed away. You had the Texas connection. Can you talk about your roots? Obviously, had that 1 year at Texas, and Lance.
Yeah, I mean, Lance was a huge part of the Texas community, and somebody that I looked up to and had conversations with since I was 16, 17 years old. And I feel like I just seen him a couple weeks ago. So, it's devastating news to hear that. Prayers out to his family and friends. He's left his mark on the game of basketball and on young people for a long, long time. And, that's the type of stuff that's going to last forever. So rest in peace to Lance Blanks.
Thanks, Kevin.
Book, when they came out with their changes to start the second half, how did you and Kevin try to stick with what was working, even with 2 and 3 coming at you?
I mean, I invite that. That's my favorite brand of basketball, when they double him and I get to be on the backside and just make a quick decision. So, yeah, it's just reading it. They switch it up a lot. They put Jokic on a guard sometimes. I think that's an adjustment that they made also. So just trying to read it. We've been in practice and we try to have an answer for every adjustment that they make, and it's just getting into it quicker. I think we can do better moving forward.
TJ got one in the corner, didn't go down. He found the ball right again and made the next one, just to go back to trust and how you guys have that let it fly mentality through the season, right?
Yeah. And we have a long-standing relationship, so, I believe in Tony to the fullest. That's actually what I was yelling at him after he made the second shot. And then I went back to him a third time, and he was able to get the floater too. So, if teams are playing those defense or they double KD, the next man rotates to me, it's going to leave somebody wide open. So just knocking it down with confidence, trying to give confidence to everybody on the team.
What'd you yell exactly at him?
I can't say that, but I believe in you. That's what I said. Yeah, there's a couple bleeps.
Devin, obviously, you talked about in previous games setting the tone. How important was that for you to do that, because you had 18 points in the first quarter?
Yeah, just trying to be aggressive, being ultra aggressive. I understand that opens things up for my teammates when I play that way. And at the same time, just taking what the defense gives me. A lot of it was in transition, block shots, rebounds, and then just taking off. And KD draws so much attention and left me wide open for a couple threes and, just getting easy ones. Jock ran the full court and sealed somebody in the middle, which opened up a layup for me. So, the guys around me are making it easier for me.
The other thing I had was they went up 3 in the third, and you guys went on a 14-0 run. It started late in the third, and then it continued in the fourth. And during that stretch, it was obviously getting stops. But what do you feel like you guys were getting on the offensive end to extend that lead back?
I definitely got to look at it. We came out of halftime poor. I think we were too complacent, got comfortable, and, I know that's something coach is going to be stressing in practice tomorrow. And, as a unit, we understand what we did, and, we just have to come with the put them away mindset. If we're up 15-16 at half, we know they're not going to roll over, but, we just have to come out better than that.
Book, obviously, DA kind of had a tough night tonight. As a leader and somebody who's kind of like, what do you tell him? Because obviously you're going to need him in the coming games.
That's life. We've been around, long enough to understand every night's not going to be your night. It's just doing other things to make up for it. You know, if you make a shot, miss a layup, like you don't know what's going to happen there. But energy and effort always has to be high, especially around this time. You can't get, flustered. You can't get in your own head. And, I could see that a little bit with him today. So, it's my job to, just pump him up. Like, it's the next possession. Like, who cares how you play? All it comes down to is if you win or lose around this time of year.
You mentioned the other night, embrace the challenge, make sure you have fun. What do you enjoy about the pressure of these kind of situations?
I mean, it's all I know. This is all I've dreamed of as a kid. I've dedicated a lot of my life. I moved away from my family when I was young to, pursue being in these moments. And just the people that came before me, man, like, my dad played, and just being a fan of the game, was my way through life. So, it's not time to fold up now.
Devin, what can you say about the team defense? So Monty played guys who are known more for offense, but you guys held them to like 43% shooting, limited their effectiveness at the three-point line. What can you say about the team defense tonight?
I mean, that's important. A few of the guys you're talking about haven't played this whole series or last series. So, big shout out to them for being ready. T. Ross, TJ, come in, don't know when they're going to play. And, that's a tough assignment. Just thrown into, down 0-2, playoff game, high intensity, and you're just thrown into the fire. So big ups to them, but, just communication trumps everything. Talking to each other out there, if you get quiet, that's kind of where you get lost.
But kind of speaking to that, the last 5 minutes, the lineup you guys had, are you kind of aware, looking around like, oh, this is a different look for us to close a game?
Not really. As a coach, I always tell coach, I can never coach. That has to be the hardest job because you just don't know, and you have to take chances, and you have to just believe in, what you have. So that's kind of my mentality when I'm out there too. Like whatever we got out here, let's do it. And like I said earlier, just talking to each other. Communication trumps everything, and tomorrow is when we get to settle it all in, see what actually went down, and make adjustments from there.
3 more, Ben staying up.
Devin, coming into the night, down 0-2, no CP, this could be a very stressful and overwhelming situation potentially. What makes you embrace this and relish this?
Man, life's stressful. Like I said, people asked me after last game, there's gonna be a lot of your plate moving forward, and that's what it is. So just seeing it for what it is, and just enjoying every moment. Playoff basketball is serious, man. You feel that energy, you feel the adrenaline. I'm sure you guys feel it just being in the arena. So there's nothing like it.
Yeah, you guys were real efficient in the fast break points and more than double Nuggets. Can you talk about Jock's contribution with those defensive rebounds and getting out and running in pace?
Yeah, I mean, he's a playmaker too. That's a tough assignment he has down there fighting with Jokic, and the times they don't score, to be able to get the ball and outlet it, as soon as possible is a skill for a big. I think you've seen Kevin Love has been having success with it with Miami now. Those plays are very underrated, to be able to get a rebound and get it out for your teammate that quick, and then sprint the floor after that. So you're asking him to do a lot, and he's built for it.
Last one. Devin, your only 2 free throws come from the last minute or so. You only missed 5 shots, but there's no free throws throughout the game. And towards the end, there was a timeout when you hold up a 0 sign, kind of towards the crowd. I just want to know what you make of that.
It's a great question. I have no answer. Appreciate you guys.